Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're taking a look at DC Heroes United. Batman. Hush. Batman Hush here is based on a graphic novel of the same name that I have not read.
Me either. I didn't know anything about it.
And you technically will get a little bit of a spoiler in this if you've not read it. So if you're interested, maybe read it first. But, you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. We're not talking about that book. We're talking about this game, okay? Yeah. This is a continuation of the United system that has been out before as Marvel United. This is the very first available DC United thing.
So excited.
There should be technically more coming, but this is a standalone core box.
It's all you need.
I'm going to go ahead and show you how to play this, and in fact, I'm going to treat this overview as maybe you don't know how to play United at all.
Oh.
So I'll be showing you most of what's going on, okay? If you already know how to play, you can skim it, and you can just kind of see what's new in here. But you can also just skip it and listen to us discuss these characters if you are incredibly familiar with United already.
Right, very similar.
All right, here we go. Here we've got the game set up for 3 players playing Catwoman, Tim Drake, Robin, and Batman here, playing against the game cooperatively. But there's a few different ways you can set up this game. You can play Commander Solo mode, in which you're going to be using a single character and then using some characters' cards as support. You can play Super Villain mode with one player running the villain. In this case, this ensorcelled Superman here, who's being controlled by Poison Ivy. And then you can also choose to play with or without equipment, which you see here I do have set up for these characters. So, we've already taken a couple of turns up there. The villain will start. They already went, and then Batman took a turn already. And so we are moving on to the next character here, who is going to be Catwoman. But before we get to her turn, let me kind of show you very briefly here what's going on. We have a villain up here who has a certain number of health and possibly some special rules as to how you may hurt them. We are going to be moving around these locations here that are going to show civilians and thugs. We're going to be clearing civilians, taking out thugs, moving them from these locations to these 2 cards for civilians and thugs respectively. We're going to be clearing threats, which are these cards, achieving what they say, removing this token here, and then moving that to the cleared threats card there. Basically filling these 3 objectives. As soon as we get one of them filled, let's say it's the defeat thugs, this card will slide over, so it's always the first one that's empty. And then the villain will become under pressure. They will be acting more frequently. Normally, they get to go every 3 of our turns. If they become under pressure, they will go after every 2 turns. When we complete another one of these, whichever one it might be, again, this will slide over, and now the villain is actually vulnerable, and we can start hurting them. We cannot damage the villain before that happens, and for Superman especially, because it's Superman, we are going to need somebody, the person hitting them, to have this kryptonite ring, a special piece of equipment. The players can pass this around, but only the person holding this can actually hurt Superman. So that is how that works. And again, these cards here can be in any order because it does not matter. They will slide over if an empty space appears. And that is what's going on. Now, in this one, because of controlled Superman here, we've got the Poison Ivy token that begins with Superman's location. He began there. And it's going to attempt to move around. If it ever comes back to Kane Chemicals over here, we are going to lose the game. So we need to slow that down. Also, if the villain needs to play a card and there are no cards, we also lose. And we're eliminated if we can't play cards ourselves. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and take a turn here with Catwoman. She is going to begin her turn by drawing a card. And then she's going to play a card from her hand. She will play that card there. You get to use any special abilities on your card, any symbols on your card, and any symbols on the previous character's card. Even if there is a villain card between them, you still can use the last card that has any of, the last character's card, one of your good guys. If that card is face down for some reason, then you don't get to use the symbols on it. But for now, we're good. So she is going to have this ability that says that as long as the card is visible, she has access to this. She can redirect damage that she would take to other heroes in her location. It's Catwoman. And then she has access to 2 moves, 1 heroic action, and 1 wild action, which is any of the symbols available in the game. It could be heroic, it could be move, or it could be a punch. So she is going to go ahead and move. She's going to move from here to there. You can go either direction. She's going to use the heroic action to put another token on this Poison Ivy's control card. And then the wild, she could use in a few different ways. She could punch. She could punch one of these henchmen and put it down here. She could use it to rescue a civilian if she was with any civilians. She could have done it before she moved from here. The sequencing is up to you. Or she could use it to put the last heroic symbol on here, which immediately will clear that card. So this is now complete. We're going to remove this card from play. We are going to move this token over to here. And then the ability on this card says that when this threat is cleared, we move the Poison Ivy token counterclockwise 1 location. We slow her down. And they are all the same in this scenario with him. All right. And so now you have access to an end of turn ability here. If you end there, and she is done. It would be now Robin's turn. He'll draw a card, he'll play, and then Superman goes again after him, moving a certain number of spaces, activating his BAM ability as listed here, and then putting out, using an ability if he happens to already be under pressure, plus deploying some new civilians, possibly some thugs, to his location, and the locations around his location. In this case, they happen to be empty, okay? So that is what he'll be doing, and then we go back to whoever would take a turn next. This is going to continue until we defeat him or we all lose, generally by having Poison Ivy come all the way around. Every player already, I explained, has some tech here, some equipment, and you can use these on your turn whenever it says you can do it, and then you flip it face down. Sometimes you're able to recharge these. Sometimes they simply go away, and they'll give you bonuses, extra moves, extra punches, all sorts of various things. Every character has their own equipment. So that is the general flow of the game. I think that should give you enough of an idea of what's going on to understand what's happening. I will mention there are 2 more villains in this game. You've got Hush, of course, and then you've got the Joker and Harley Quinn here. And you've also got Superman, who is a purple figure. He could be played as a hero as well with a deck of heroic cards, but obviously not in the same game where he is a villain, okay? So there you go. Let's go ahead and go back up top. So there is a whole lot to like, I think, in this core box, and I'm just going to start naming those things. So, for example, here's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of cool characters in here, and it's nice to have in this system, or really just in any game, access to so many cool, interesting, neat characters. Batman, Catwoman, the Robin. Superman. That controlled Superman with Poison Ivy sort of controlling him. Mm-hmm. And the amount of stuff that's in this core box, and especially at the price point that you can get this core box, is honestly kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And some people have said that this has, I guess 1 or 2 less characters than other core sets.
That's true.
But it doesn't feel like it.
But my goodness, the amount of... there are... game modes galore in here. There are literally 3 game modes in here. I only showed you one, but I alluded to the other 2. You can play all versus 1, and you could always play all versus 1 out of this box and treat this game as literally an all v1 game instead of a co-op game forever. And that's insane. You could play as a solitaire game forever, and that's okay. Or you can co-op it. You can play with or without equipment cards.
Which is big. Which
is huge, and they come right in there. You have all of this variability. You have difficulty settings. Maybe not enough. We'll get to that. But there's all of that stuff. And yes, there are a couple of fewer figures in the boxes in some other core boxes, but the variety of gameplay here is insane.
And the fact they gave you heavy hitters in villains and in heroes, rather than like sticking some D-League people in there,
Right.
With a couple big names. Everyone in there is like, oh, wow, they're there too.
Right, I agree. Yeah, I think the variety here out of the box is really good.
Yeah.
The villains is a part of this game that always has sort of shined the brightest, I would say. It's yes, the characters are neat and they can certainly do interesting stuff, the player characters, but the villains are where you're going to get a lot of variety, a lot of this game sort of sending you for a loop. And this is no exception to that. All three of these villains in here are very different from one another.
They really are. And from anything else, I think, in the past boxes, too.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre stuff, and it's kind of wild that out of a core box, you're going to get such diverse gameplay and so much going on, to the point that I worry about this being somebody's first United core box. Because my goodness, there's a lot to track. There's some fiddliness, and there is some difficulty in this box. All of those, I think, make for a core box that I'm not sure I would recommend as somebody's first.
I would definitely not, because this right here, I don't think is a good, because the complexity is higher, but also strategy is higher, too.
Yeah.
Like, first time we play Superman, you're like, I'm going to fight Superman. Well, Poison Ivy is the one that's going to beat you. You've got to learn that mitigation on each of those, Same with, like, Joker and Harley Quinn, the kidnapping and stuff. There's all this mitigation and strategy that goes into these that before it was just kind of a beat 'em up. The first, it's like just hit him. This one, you've got some depth in those.
There's a lot of sequencing that needs to happen. There's a lot of characters hurrying up the
track?
The turn, their go. You know what I mean? Like their turn. They accelerate the next villain turn, whatever they call that.
Yes,
I happens
hated that.
all the time, and it's like, my goodness, this game has a lot of things to track.
Yes, because I think is it Harley Quinn? If she's not close enough to Joker,
then
up
it's
one,
hurried up,
and it's just that stuff will kill you.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and Hush does it a little bit. No, Superman does it a little bit too at the beginning. It's tons to keep track of, is my point. I think if you gave this core box to someone who's never played United before, and you're like, here, you like DC, check this game out, I would certainly recommend somebody play it. I also might double check what they've played before.
Right.
Or perhaps be in control of the game the first time they play it. I might, run it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because it really is so many moving parts, and they're very thematic, and there's a lot of interest here. But it is not the easiest core box to get into by far.
No, it is not, because everything has so many moving parts, which makes it great for gamers. People that want more depth,
Sure, I agree, but hearing this then described as, it's a great family game, it's a great game for kids.
No.
Certainly not a good game for kids alone, that's for sure.
No.
But even for families, this is a lot going on. You might want to make sure that they are already sort of gamery family, you know what I mean?
It doesn't compare to the first, was it the Spider-Verse or whatever, the first one with the Spot and all that? That was more gamer style.
I think the only core box more complicated than this would be Spider-Geddon.
Yes.
But everything else, the X-Men core box, the original certainly is much easier than this. So there you go. So anyway, that's enough of that. You know that it's difficult. One more negative I want to mention is that I find the box to be incredibly self-referential, and it makes Batman... It feels like that Conan game that, it was like somebody gets to be Conan and everybody else is some helper.
I do agree. Every time it shows up, he has to have the ring, and Hush has to play against him, and it's like, well, he can't damage anybody this turn. Yeah, he's very much the star of this.
Yeah, and they keep name-checking him, like the Joker cards. At one point, they mention Batman by name. There's a location that cares about Batman being
extra
there.
Movement. Yeah, the theater or something.
There's Hush, who is, watching Batman. It's like...
That's frustrating.
My goodness, they really... It almost feels like they don't expect you or maybe want you to mix this with anything else.
Right.
It's like, no, this is what you bought at mass market. You're playing with Batman. We assume Batman is always in. Who's not going to play Batman. So I found that to be insular and a little sort of weirdly overly self-referential, okay?
Yeah.
Now, good things. Mm-hmm. The characters are very cool. The equipment in here is very cool. The generic equipment is very good, though it's weird because nobody in here doesn't have equipment, right? Well, Superman doesn't have equipment, so I guess you could give him, like, equipment. But
I haven't tried that, though.
yeah, but there's a lot of equipment is my point.
Right.
When this is, if it's so insular, then why is there all this extra equipment, you know? But it's good. I like the equipment in it. The iconography, where they started with the original Marvel United to where they are now, I think is leaps and bounds.
So much better.
Improvements. The Under Pressure now has a symbol. It has that sort of hazard and the little light.
Yep.
You can now quickly look at the line, the storyline, and know if a card can be flipped face down for an ability, if a card needs to be face up for an ability.
Love that. Yep.
There's all these visual triggers to help you know what's going on. I love that evolution.
I love the evolution of using the timeline more, because before, when you first started, it was just like, this is past. Well, now you can go back and start using
tons of that.
Yeah, and you have to keep that in mind as you play it, which I do love.
Yeah, and even the villains use that, right?
Yes,
I mean,
they do.
they're like, the Joker cares about those face-down joke cards, and he'll be flipping those over. The Hush will be throwing away cards, so will the Joker and Harley Quinn. They'll be throwing away those their own plan cards. There's a lot more messing with that line of cards and caring about those things, absolutely.
Yeah, and running that along. And then everybody else, I mean, all the characters feel very thematic, too. I mean, I love how Batman does love his gadgets. Other people, I would play with equipment or not. I think I like both.
Yeah.
But Batman, you need those, because those, I think one card recharges them or whatever.
Yeah.
He likes his stuff, you know? And everyone feels different.
It does feel like they're pushing you to play with equipment.
They are.
It's optional, but lots of things reference them.
Yes.
The Joker will be like, somebody has to lose equipment. Or discard a token, I guess, if you're not playing with it, you lame-o. It's it seems like they keep wanting you to do it.
And Catwoman, I think, steals it or something, and little things like that.
Yeah, right.
So it's everywhere.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think Control Superman, I think it's interesting how they did this to not kind of replace anything coming out later. Like the Batman in here is classic Batman, you know?
Yeah.
And Superman here is controlled Superman because he is very powerful, but then he also can go a bit crazy sometimes.
Yeah, and smack somebody else, one of the good guys. Yeah, this is out of, from what I understand, again, I have not read Hush, and I understand it's out of that graphic novel.
Right.
I agree that it is interesting that this is what they chose to sort of make a standalone core box outside of their Game Found campaign. And I think it's going to prove to be weirder than the core box coming out of that, if and when that shows up. I think that's going to be more traditional.
Yep.
I think it's going to be more heavy-hitting characters, more kind of middle of the road. This is weirder than that.
It is.
You know? Which then I'm of two minds about, because I'm like, okay, well, did you bag that stuff and you want to sample a little bit before you get the whole wave?
And that's where I was.
This is for you.
Yes.
This is for you. If you are
100%.
a Marvel United fan already, you back DC Heroes United, you can't wait to get that stuff, and suddenly this shows up at stores, you should get this.
Yes.
The value is tremendous. Mm-hmm. It's got really cool characters. This will make you salivate even more for the upcoming stuff.
It tied you over until they finally get it to you.
Kind of. Yeah, that's kind of what it does. Now,
Yeah.
flip side of that, you never played Marvel United. You don't really like Marvel. You like DC. You like Superman and Batman. And this shows up in Amazon or someplace. Do I recommend this for you? I don't know. I think it's hard. I think it's a punishing box. It's very difficult. The villains are, they're ramped up. The game's not as easy to play or run or grasp as previous core boxes. Are you a gamer? Who are you playing with? There's a lot of questions then that I need to follow up and ask you.
And are you looking to put these characters into Marvel United? Which
Right.
you can, but then there are going to be, there won't be too many issues, but it'll be interesting to see how those do work in those.
Yeah, and it feels like its own standalone thing. I feel
does.
like this is a box that will not mix with other stuff just because it kind of doesn't want to be.
Right.
Feels like it's happy the way it is. So yeah, this is an interesting one. There's some push and pull in my thoughts. Where are you coming down on this one?
I really do like it. Again, my daughter loves Marvel United, so when we got this was like a no-brainer. Now she loves this too. There is more hand-holding.
Yes,
because
it has to be, right?
I mean, especially because she's 8. So, I mean, before it's just like hit them. This one was like, no, you got to worry about this. You got to worry about this. So, but you know what? Maybe it's a good transition forward for her. So I'm coming to 8.5 on this.
Yeah.
Because I love Marvel United. I'm looking for DC United. Again, the IP, I don't know the source material. But I do like the fact they included everything in there that I wanted. I wanted Superman. They gave me Control Superman. I wanted Batman. They gave me classic Batman. You know, so you've got the heavy hitters in here. So I think if you like the United series, this is almost a must-buy because it's like just to have it. But like you said, this feels like I don't know when I get the big one how many times I will throw these guys into that.
Right.
That's what I don't know. I think, like you said, although you can mix, this feels like it's a complete thing as is.
Yeah. I really like United. It's, one of my favorite, if not my favorite games of all time. And I like this very much. I'm going to come down to the 9 on this one. And again, I'm reviewing this product as it is. And it's, again, of two minds because of who I'm recommending this to.
Right.
I'm treating it as my own thing for me. This is not my favorite core box. But it has some really neat stuff in it. I like all these characters in here. I do like these villain fights are incredibly memorable. The Hush fight is a long, drawn-out brawl.
It really is. And you got to jump around, like, oh, Joker's on there. Or like Riddler, you got to jump around. That's
good. Like, all the fights are just hard. Even the starting fight here against Superman.
Yes. You'll lose.
Controlled Superman. It's nasty. It's got some oomph. This is not the training exercise for you to learn this game. They kind of they expected you to figure that out before here, I guess.
Right.
So for me, like I said, I'm giving this one a 9. I really like it. I certainly recommend you check it out if you are excited for the upcoming DC Heroes United stuff. Or you really like Marvel United and you want more stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Get it. It's great. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. If you've never played United and you're okay with Marvel or DC, you don't really care, get the original Marvel United core box. It is nice on-ramping to a system that I think is tremendous and more forgiving, a little easier to teach anybody than this. This has teeth.
It is. Strategy heavy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's a lot going on, a lot of things to keep track of. But it's one I'm certainly going to keep playing. I'm enjoying it, and the villains are really what kind of make it, and they're fun. They're fun villains in this box.
They're so good.
There you go, folks. That's 8.59 for me. That is a seal of excellence for DC Heroes, DC Superheroes United, Batman Hush. That's a mouthful.
It's a lot to say.
Check this one out, everybody. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Joey Evans.
Hush.
Hey, thanks for watching another video here on the Dice Tower. We really appreciate you stopping by and checking our things out. Thanks so much for joining us today. And hey, if you really like what we're doing here at the Dice Tower, then there are different ways to support the Dice Tower. One of those ways is through Patreon. We have links in the description to this video, and we have links to lots of other things we do down there, so definitely check it out. But either way, we're glad you watched us. Tell your friends about the Dice Tower. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vassell, and I hope you enjoyed this video.